Now, if you're lactose intolerant like myself, you can't always enjoy, dairy products when you want. Now, on my channel, I try to bring you as many recipes with lactose-free dairy products as possible, such as milk, cream cheese, butter, and what have you. And that's exactly what we're doing in this next recipe. It's time for some deep fried butter. So let's get to it. So these are the ingredients that you will need to make this recipe. You will need 1 brick of butter, preferably lactose free if you are lactose intolerant, 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of milk, preferably lactose free if you are lactose intolerant, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and finally 2 tablespoons of honey. Okay, so first we're gonna chop up our butter. Now I'm gonna be chopping it up into 6 parts here. You will prefer to cut them into 8 actually. 6 was actually a little too big, so you'll definitely want to cut them for the anyhow. For the deep fryer I was using 6 was too big, so you'll want to cut them into 8. Like I said, I have this cut into 6. All right. So, make sure to be careful not to chop your fingers. So yeah, just keep chopping away at these until you get equal parts. And once you're done with that, you're going to want to freeze them for a minimum of 2 hours, preferably longer. You want to make sure they are hard and solid. Now, once they're finished freezing, you just take the pieces that you want and dip them into some dry garlic pieces or garlic powder or garlic salt. If you are going to use garlic salt, please make sure to not use salted butter. Okay, so you're going to take 1 cup of flour, add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, and you're going to want to make sure to mix that. Okay, and also create a little well at the bottom there for your liquid ingredients that will be coming. Okay, and those will be 1 cup of milk, followed by 1 beaten egg and 2 tablespoons of oil. Once again, I forgot to include the oil, showing the oil get poured in, but trust me folks, it does get poured in right after the eggs. Alright, you also want to include 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and follow that up with 2 tablespoons of honey. Now we're using the same batter that we did in the first episode, which was the deep fried maple leaf cookies. That's why if you find this recipe similar, it's because it's exactly the same. We're using the same batter to deep fry our butter in. So make sure you use up all that honey, mix well, and make sure that you have absolutely no lumps in your batter. You want to make sure that it's nice and smooth so that when you dip your butter in there. So once it's smooth, it's all ready for the frying process. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do now is take our butter and place the pieces in the batter. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're going to want to cut your batter into cubes of 8 from your brick instead of bricks of 6. Reasons as follows: if the pot you're using or the pan or the deep fryer is not deep enough, your butter will be hard and heavy and it will sink to the bottom and stick, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure you have your oil set to 350 degrees and make sure your butter is well battered and place in the oil until golden brown. Okay, and now it's the garlic butter's turn. So do the same process for the garlic butter as you did for the regular butter. Make sure it's well battered before you place it into the hot oil, and always make sure that your batter is thick enough. So if your batter is not thick enough, it's too liquidy, add more flour. If it's too thick, add more milk. That's the trick. Make sure that you have a beautiful batter to cook with. Okay, so now when everything is ready, you're going to want to take your butter balls, if you want to call them that, out of the oil and place them on the rack to rest. Okay, so once everything is cooked, place them in a plate. Ready to serve. The regular butter's on the top, the garlic butter's on the bottom. So it's time to taste this bad boy out. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're all done with our deep fried butter. So let's start off with, let's say, just a regular deep fried butter and see what that gives. So here we go. We got a nice one. Some deep fried butter. Can't wait to see how this one's gonna taste. I was saying, it's rich, incredibly rich. But I gotta say, the honey in the batter actually mellows out the butter a little bit. But it is incredibly rich. But as I'm using lactose-free butter, I can enjoy it all I want. Actually, quite impressed with that. I thought the taste of the butter would be much heavier, and it's not. All right, so let's try out the garlic one now and see what that one gives. All right, here we go. Time for a little garlic fried butter. Cheers, folks. Wow. Wow. I gotta say, I am impressed. I was expecting this to actually be worse though. I didn't know if it would go well with the honey. But to be honest, there's a good balance between the two. There's not too much garlic and there's not too much honey. So they're balancing each other out quite well. Quite happy with that. Actually, I'm a little more impressed with the garlic than I am with just a regular butter one. The regular butter one is what I expected, you know, had this heavy butter taste. Thankfully, the honey in the batter did bring that down a bit. But it's still a very rich taste. Meanwhile, with the garlic, I don't know what it is. The garlic with the honey seems to kill down the richness a little more. I mean, don't get me wrong, the batter, I mean, you still taste the butter, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem as rich. The taste just, all the tastes meld beautifully together. All right, well, that's a success. So if you enjoyed this, folks, don't forget to smack that like button, lay down your comments, and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel by clicking on that big subscribe button below. And until the next video, this is Freaky P saying good day.